Hi friend, let me sit with you for a moment and share a story. It's about trust, about lessons I had to learn the hard way, and about finding strength when someone tried to take advantage of me. Because if my story can help even one person avoid being tricked, then it's worth telling. I want to pull back the curtain on the specific, calculated steps they take, not to scare you but to arm you with knowledge. When we understand their playbook, the psychological triggers they pull, and the perfectly crafted lies they tell, we take away their power and reclaim our own. Started like many stories do, with a simple hello. Nothing dramatic, just a kind message from someone who seemed interested in me. And after a long day, that kind of attention feels nice. It feels like maybe the world finally noticed you. But what I didn't know then is that scammers count on that feeling. They know we all want to feel seen. This initial contact is never random. It's a strategic phishing expedition. They cast out hundreds of these low-effort messages across dating apps and social media, using stolen, attractive photos to maximize responses. Their goal isn't to start a real conversation, but to identify a potential target, someone who is friendly, responsive, and perhaps a little vulnerable. That first hello is the hook, and my polite, engaged response told him I was a fish worth reeling in. Within days, he was calling me special, telling me I was different. That kind of talk can make your heart skip a beat, especially if you've been lonely. But here's what I learned. Real relationships take time, but scams move fast. If someone's trying to rush your heart, pause. Ask yourself, why the hurry? This technique is called love bombing. He would send good morning and good night texts without fail, creating a rhythm of dependency. He'd claim he'd never felt a connection so deep so quickly, and he'd use that intensity to bypass my normal boundaries. The hurry is a critical part of the scammer's business model. They can't afford to invest months in one target when they have dozens in their roster. They need to create a false sense of intimacy rapidly to get to the payoff before their target has time to think critically or consult friends. He seemed perfect. Too perfect, really. He agreed with everything I said, like everything I liked, and never once challenged me. First it felt flattering. Later I realized it was a script. Scammers don't build real connections, they build mirrors. They reflect back what they think you want to see. This is a deliberate tactic known as mirroring. If I mention I loved a certain author, he'd suddenly have the same favorite book. If I said I valued honesty above all, he'd craft a story about his own unwavering integrity. He was a chameleon, changing his colors to match my emotional environment perfectly. There were no disagreements, no bad days, and no flaws, because the persona he presented wasn't a real person. It was a fictional character, meticulously designed and data-fed based on my likes and dislikes, to become my ideal partner without any of the messy work of a real relationship. Then came the first red flag. His story about where he lived didn't match the little details he told me before. When I asked about it, he brushed it off with sweet words. That's when I heard that little voice inside me say, "Pay attention." And let me tell you, ignoring that voice is how scammers win. Listening to it is how you stay safe. This inconsistency wasn't a mistake. It was an inevitability. Managing dozens of lies for multiple targets is difficult. The deflection is also a standard part of their training. Instead of providing a logical answer, they used gaslighting light, dismissing the concern as a misunderstanding and then quickly pivoting to affection. You're so clever to notice, but you're overthinking it, my love. Let's not waste our precious time on this. To make me feel silly for doubting them and guilty for questioning the perfect connection. Eventually the ask came. Not right away, scammers are patient. First he asked for my time, my trust, my loyalty. Then slowly it shifted. He hinted at money troubles, family emergencies, business setbacks. Always something urgent. Always something only I could fix. That's how they trap you, by making you feel responsible for their survival. The financial hook is always preceded by a sympathy hook. He shared an elaborate story about a lucrative contract that was delayed due to a banking error or a corrupt official, knowing I'd be invested in his success. The emergency was always time-sensitive. A payment needed to be made today or the opportunity would vanish, or he'd be thrown in jail. The key was making me feel like the only person he could turn to, his sole confidant and savior. This manufactured crisis is designed to trigger a rescue instinct, overriding logic with a surge of emotion, and a sense of urgency that leaves no time for second opinions. But here's where my story turned. I stopped, I breathed, and I looked at the situation clearly. Would a real partner ask for money before trust had even had time to grow? No. Would someone genuine avoid video calls, dodge questions, or pressure me to act fast? No again. And once I faced the truth, I felt a strange kind of peace. Because the truth frees you even when it hurts. I did a simple Google reverse image search on his profile picture and found it plastered on a stock photo website and a model's Instagram account from another country. The elaborate business he described had no digital footprint whatsoever. Every excuse for why we couldn't video chat, a broken camera, poor internet on the oil rig, a shy demeanor, suddenly clicked into place as the blatant lies they were. The pressure to send money via untraceable methods like gift cards or wire transfers wasn't romantic. It was a textbook financial scam. I blocked him. And let me tell you, that wasn't weakness, it was strength. Saying no is not cruel, it's powerful. Boundaries don't chase away the right people. They only chase away the wrong ones. And the moment I chose myself over his lies, I took back my time, my energy, and my peace. I didn't engage in a long goodbye or try to confront him. I knew that would only give him a chance to manipulate me further with more lies and guilt trips. The block button was my shield. It was an act of profound self-respect. The immediate silence that followed was initially jarring, but within hours, it was replaced by an overwhelming sense of relief. The constant anxiety of his manufactured dramas evaporated, and I realized how much mental energy his fiction had been consuming. Looking back, I don't just see a scam. I see a lesson. I see how much I've grown. Scams remind us how badly we crave connection, but also how important it is to protect our hearts. They remind us that real love, real friendship, it's slow, steady, and honest. And that protecting yourself doesn't mean closing off. It means opening your heart only where it's safe. This experience taught me to vet authenticity through actions, not words. Real partners show up consistently. They don't just say the right things. They aren't afraid of video calls or meeting your friends. They have a past you can verify and a presence in the world that extends beyond a text message. My desire for connection is a strength, not a weakness, but it must be paired with the wisdom to see the difference between a building and a mirror. So my friend, let me leave you with this. You are smarter than any scammer. You are stronger than any trick. And your time, your peace, your love, they're treasures worth guarding. If this story spoke to you, share it. Someone else out there might be on the edge of falling for the same trap, and your share could save them. Talk about these tactics with your friends, your mothers, your daughters. Make love bombing and mirroring household words. And if you've lived through something like this, drop your story in the comments. Do not feel shame. Feel pride in your resilience. Together we learn. Together we heal. And together we grow wiser and build a community that is immune to their schemes.